Watch.
What video? Oh yeah, I seen he had the hold up. Let me get this playthrough. What is it about, Chris?
So this economist, um, he's from Germany, and
Mm-hmm.
basically, what happened was, to make a long story short, I think you need to watch the whole thing though. Um, he talks about uh, how basically how things are and how they're wrong, especially when it comes to banking and the economics around banking, because they put the Fed at the center of that, when in reality it's not the Fed, it's the banks themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and how they create uh, credit.
Right.
Um, so he talks extensively about that. He wrote a book called uh, the Prince of Yen, I think is the name. Let's see. Let me see. Because his name is Richard Werner. So he wrote a book called The Prince of Yen, and he wrote it because he spent a lot of time in Japan, and he was studying the banking system in Japan, and how they engineered recessions basically on purpose. And so in his book, he writes about certain countries, and one of the countries in there was America. So it got so what he wrote about America was so taken aback by a lot of authors, because originally the book was written in Japanese only, so you had to be able to read Japanese to be able to read it. But later on, he got it written in different languages or whatnot. So when they found this out, like the Fed, I think it was Alan Greenspan, they had the CIA approach this dude and told him, like, basically, if you don't get rid of uh basically you don't get rid of the book or stop selling the book, you gonna have a lot of problems. The CIA is gonna be watching you. So he had certain people in America that was trying to, you know, do interviews about the book or whatnot. They was trying to get copies and whatnot, and then the companies ended up saying no, they can't do it, because they were so confident that this was a great book. He did a lot of research and study,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know, about this topic, that people were curious, very curious about what he was talking about, because it made sense. Because the way the world is about economics and banking, it's false, it's wrong. And so his research, he even did a back test too. So he did a back test with another bank to see if the banking's operations was actually, if they actually did what he was saying they do. And they do. The banks are the center of everything. It's not the Fed. The Fed has its power and its issues, but the banks can do everything the Fed does. But they were creating basically fake money, of course, printing money out of thin air, and this is how the banking system works. So it don't work according to how you know the system says it works. That's it's not true because I think it's a three tier. It's a three-tier test um, on if the banks are who they say they are, or what economists and government and finance say they are. And so the way that we think it really works, it doesn't. So the three-tier test, um, there's two which society has us believe that how a bank works. And then the third one is actually how the bank works. So um, he did it with Tucker Carlson. So that was a big ass interview, good ass interview. Um, I looked up his work. The man is legit. He's legit. He's so legit. Like I said, America sent the CIA after this guy and basically told him, "Listen, we watching you." Because he discovered that these countries was basically engineering the recessions on purpose. And how you can end a recession, you don't have to do nothing drastic. Damn, man, I wish I can pull up this goddamn interview because this interview, the shit he talks about is so goddamn clear on how fraudulent, shit is running and how real uh his study brings out. It's the truth. He even brought it to the Federal Reserve at the time, the chairman at the time, Alan Greenspan. And Alan Greenspan kind of played him off. So did Ben Bernanke. And Ben Bernanke kind of stole some of his stuff out of his book. So this is my wow moment because I'm over here doing research too. I'm like, shit, damn, I read his book. I read he has an article that discusses a lot of this, basically going through everything. And I can pull it up. I downloaded it. Matter of fact. So more importantly, that out of anything, and this is why I say awareness. Awareness is so fucking important, man. Awareness is so important. Uh, you may not be a big fish in the game. You may look at yourself as a pawn or a chess piece on a chessboard, um, or a small fry. But being aware of the fucking truth and what's really going on, you're a fucking king. You're a god because you know what's up. And it's not about how much money you got or how much assets you own because the shit is all fake in reality because we live in an engineered fake society that's propped up by asset ownership. But here's the key that this brother is making. I don't give a damn if he white. I don't care about any of that. He unlocked the fucking code. You can simply get rid of a recession by doing the fucking right thing and nobody will get hurt. But these people are doing this shit on purpose. They're doing it on purpose because they got this information already. The brother print out the book years ago. But guess what? You don't want to stop playing the game. You want to continue to get richer and richer. That's why they sent the CIA after that brother. We know this. Whether you believe in conspiracies or not, we know, you know, that these motherfuckers do shit like this all the time. They do it to entertainers. Anybody start telling the truth and snitching, guess what? They end up dead. That's not a fucking conspiracy. That's a fact. We can name multiple people behind that. So I don't want people coming on here, oh man, that shit fake. No, bro, we got evidence. We got evidence. They do that shit. If I wrote what I actually knew, how banking works, and how they literally do this shit on purpose when they don't have to, when they can really just stop a recession at the click of a button, and nobody has to get hurt. And people are getting curious about it, especially Americans. If Americans get curious about shit, we start to run our mouths. We broadcasting, we going live, we getting millions and millions of followers, and people logged in, tapped in, ready to hear this shit. And then you getting big companies like the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal who want to interview you about your book and the information that you found. And then the heads, the CEO, turn around and say, "Oh no, we can't do that." So enough talking. Let me pull up this damn thing. Not the video. A video over 2.5 hours. But I did have the pleasure of downloading.
You want to share your screen?
Hold on, let me see.
You
Yeah, I can.
okay? Let me stop sharing. What's up, Price?
What's going on, y'all?
What's up, Bryce?
What's the topic tonight? I'm just, hey, stopping through.
Can banks individually create money out of nothing? The theories and the empirical evidence.
Mm.
Oh wait, how I share my screen on here?
You see at the bottom where it has a little plus? It
What plus?
look like a little computer monitor and a plus. Wait, what type of device are you on?
I'm on my cell phone.
Let me see how to do
Wait,
I
this.
don't know if you can do it from the phone. I don't know how
wait.
to do it
I'm
from
gonna
the
just
phone.
I'm gonna just send it to you, Mo. You can pull it up.
Okay.
How about that?
All right. Yeah. You got the good one.
All right, hold on. Let me send you the link.
I got a million things open.
Yeah, cause credit creation theory. Let me see. I like this one. Uh, it's not the one I got, but I like this one.
It's,
So let me. They gotta put a security check on this shit. That's crazy. Yeah, yeah, you can just pull it up and I can read it. All right.
you sent it to me?
Yeah, it's in the chat.
All
So,
right.
so, so, Chris, you saw that question? Can they create money? Are you speaking to like fractional lending and the whole 90%? And
No,
uh,
it's something completely different.
okay, okay.
That's the shit they get us to believe.
So
That's
you
the
saying
stuff they
that's
get
not
us.
real?
No, that's just one of the theories they get us to believe.
Hmm.
This brother Richard Werner, he like I don't know how long you've been on, but he spent a lot of time in Japan. Uh, I think I don't know if it was an internship or whatnot, but he was working during a banking crisis and a recession. He's from Germany, and he's an economist, right?
Uh-huh.
And so he was basically doing research on how the banking system works. He even did his own, he even practiced his theory with a bank that let him test out his theory.
How you spell his last name?
Uh, is is Werner, but it's spelled
It's
Werner,
on the screen.
Werner, but it's Werner because he's German.
Oh, he German. Okay.
Yeah,
It's on the
He a,
screen.
he a black German or he just German?
no, he white man.
Okay.
Yeah, he Euro. I'm gonna just say European. So
Okay. I'm checking. I'm checking.
yeah, uh, okay.
Is this it? This is what you want me to bring up, right?
Hold on, let me see. Go to that second link.
Second link.
Yeah, in the chat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is the second link.
yeah. So click download full
I
text PDF.
I did. That's what I had up.
Oh, hold on, man. We can use them because they all pretty much the same. But which one did I download?
Can banks individually create money out of nothing? The theories and empirical evidence.
Yeah, I know. I downloaded one though. I'm just trying to see where did see view PDF. Okay, no, the first one, the first link mode. Click on view PDF.
All right.
Oh, you had it up already. You was right. My bad.
He fired. This it right here.
Let's see. Yeah, that's it. All right, I can I can go ahead and read it whenever y'all get ready.
You ready?
All right. Can banks individually create money out of nothing? The theories and the empirical evidence. This is by Richard Werner. Um, he's basically he's an economist and he does research for banking finance, and he did a lot of time in Japan. So it says that the abstract. This paper presents the first empirical evidence in history of banking on the question of whether banks can create money out of nothing. The banking crisis has revived interest in this issue, but it had remained unsettled. Three hypotheses are recognized in the literature according to the financial intermediation theory of banking. Banks are merely intermediaries. Can we agree with that? That's what they teach us.
Mm-hmm.
That banks are intermediaries and they're not really the main players.
Right.
Okay.
They're just the vehicle to house the money.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. Banks are merely intermediaries like other non bank financial institutions, collecting deposits that are then lent out. According to the fractional reserve theory of banking, individual banks are mere financial intermediaries that cannot create money, but collectively they end up creating money through systemic interaction. A theory, a third A theory maintains that each individual bank has the power to create money out of nothing and does so uh what when it extends credit. The credit creation theory of banking. The key point. The question, which of the theories is correct, has far reaching implications for research and policy. Surprisingly, despite the long standing controversy, until now, no empirical study has tested the theories. This is the contribution of the present paper. An empirical test is conducted whereby money is borrowed from a cooperating bank while its internal records are being monitored to establish uh, whether, in the process of making the loan available to the borrower, the bank transfers these funds from other accounts within or outside the bank, or whether they are newly created. This study establishes for the first time empirically that banks individually create money out of nothing. The money supply is created as fairy dust produced by the banks individually out of thin air. Okay. Introduction. Since the American and European banking crisis of 2007 2008, the role of banks in the economy has increasingly attracted interest within and outside the disciplines of banking, finance, and economics. This interest is well justified. Thanks to the crisis, awareness has risen that the most widely used macroeconomic models and finance theories did not provide an adequate description of crucial features of our economies and uh, provide an adequate description of crucial features of our economies and financial systems, and most notably, failed to include banks. These bankless dominant theories are likely to have influenced bank regulators and may thus have contributed to suboptimal bank regulation. Systemic issues uh, emanating from the banking sector are impossible to detect in economic models that do not include banks or in finance models that are based on individual representative financial institutions without embedding these appropriately into macroeconomic models. As you see, he got footnotes on both sides. Um, Let me continue on. Okay, so consequently, many researchers have since been directing their efforts at incorporating banks or banking sectors in economic models. This is a positive development, and the European conferences on banking and the economy, EcoBake, are contributing to the task showcased in this second special issue on EcoBake 2013, held on the 6th of March 2013 in Winchester Guildhall and organized by the University of Southampton Center for Banking, Finance, and Sustainable Development. As the work in this area remains highly diverse, the article aims to contribute to a better understanding of crucial features of banks, which will facilitate their suitable incorporation in economic models. Researchers need to know which aspects of bank activity are essential, including important characteristics that may distinguish banks from non-bank financial institutions. In other words, researchers need to know whether banks are unique and crucial aspects, and if so, why. In this paper, the question of their potential ability to create money is examined, which is a candidate for a central distinguishing feature. A review of the literature identifies three different mutually exclusive views on the matter, each holding sway for about a third of the 20th century on the matter, each holding sway for about a wait, each holding sway for about a third of the 20th century. The present conventional view is that banks are mere financial intermediaries that gather resources and reallocate them just like other non bank financial institutions, and without any special powers. Any differences between banks and non bank financial institutions are seen as being due to regulation and effectively so minimal that they are immaterial for modeling or for policymakers. Thus, it is thought to be permissible to model the economy without featuring banks directly. This view shall be called the financial intermediation theory of banking. It has been the dominant view since about the late 1960s. Between approximately the 1930s and the late 1960s, the dominant view was that the banking system is unique since banks, uh, unlike other financial intermediaries, can collectively create money based on the fractional reserve or money multiplier model of banking. Despite their collective power, however, each individual bank is in the view considered to be a mere financial intermediary, gathering deposits and lending these out without the ability to create money. This view shall be called the fractional reserve theory of banking. There is a third theory about the functioning of the banking sector with an ascendancy in the first 2 decades of the 20th century. Unlike the financial intermediation theory, and in time, and in line with the fractional reserve theory, it maintains that the banking system creates new money. However, it goes further than the latter and differs from it in a number of respects. It argues that each individual bank is not a financial intermediary that passes on deposits or reserves from the central bank in its lending, but instead creates the entire loan amount out of nothing. This view shall be called the credit creation theory of banking. Okay, so let's stop right there, right? So we got the fractional reserve banking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, pay attention to this credit creation theory of banking, basically creating loans to create credit. I think some of us, kind of will understand this overall, but in theory is where I think it brings the light. Uh, okay, the three theories are based on a different description of how money and banking work, and they differ in their policy implications. Wait, okay, I did read that. Intriguingly, the controversy about which theory is correct has never been settled. As a result, confusion reigns. Today, we find central banks, sometimes the very same central bank, supporting different theories. In the case of the Bank of England, central bank staff are on record supporting each one of the three mutually exclusive theories at the same time, as will be seen below. It matters which of the three theories is right, not only for understanding and modeling the role of banks correctly within the economy, but also for the design of appropriate bank regulation that aims at sustainable economic growth without crisis. The modern approach to bank regulation, as implemented at least since Basel One, which is 1998, is predicated on the understanding that the financial intermediation theory is correct. Capital adequacy based bank regulation, even of the counter cyclical type, is less likely to deliver financial stability. If one of the other two banking hypotheses is correct, the capital adequacy based approach to bank regulation adopted by the BCBS, as seen in Basel 1 and 2, has so far not been successful in preventing major banking crises. If the financial intermediation theory is not an accurate description of reality, it will throw doubt on the suitability of Basel III and similar national approaches to bank regulations, such as in the UK. It is thus of importance for research and policy to determine which of the three theories is an accurate description of reality. Empirical evidence can be used to test the relative merits of the theories. Surprisingly, no such test has so far been performed. This is the contribution of the present paper. The remainder of the paper is structured as follows. Section 2 provides an overview of relevant literature, differ, different, wait, differentiating authors by their adherence to one of the three banking theories. It will be seen that leading economists have gone on the record in support of each one of the theories. In Section 3, I then present an empirical test that is able to settle the question of whether banks are unique and whether they can individually create money out of nothing. It involves the actual processing of a live bank loan taken out by the researcher from a representative bank that cooperates in the monitoring of its internal records and operations, allowing access to its documentation and accounting systems. The results and some implications are discussed in section 4. So, well, we'll be reading all day, going through this shit, um, and I don't intend to do that. So, for those of you that were listening, just by listening to that, you should be able to tell me what those three theories are. What those three theories of banking are.
Well, it sounds like it's three different ways to describe fractional lending to me. And being that he mentioned uh European accounting versus I think in American accounting, I know those rules are different, but it still sounds like fractional lending to me, they just using some technical jargon to express in more detail that I don't know nothing about.
Okay, right. So, I mean, I can read some more.
It's not gonna clear.
So
It's
you
still gonna
saying
be clear as
intermediate?
mud.
So you
Huh?
saying? So you saying financial intermediation theory,
Hmm.
fractional reserve theory, and credit creation theory of a bank?
Yes, those are
Th-
the three different theories. The only thing about the credit creation theory is that the bank can make that shit disappear.
Agree.
The other
But
two, oh, we got to have a recession and go through it.
what that was one that kind of wasn't clear. The what was it? Capital. What was that term? You said capital something. Capital. Dang it.
Um,
Let me go back.
it was
Capital allocation. Capital.
Let me go back.
It
Capital
sounded
adequacy based bank
yes.
regulation.
Well, yeah, well, that sounded the most legit, but all of them seem to depend on the regulation or the general accounting regulation.
Not the
like,
not the not the
not
credit not the credit creation.
not gap. Yeah,
Okay.
Because the reason why the credit creation is not is because the bank themselves are creating that and
right.
calling it credit. There's no
Agreed, but
limit. There is no um
oh, so I didn't know it was no limit on that. I thought, see,
Mm-mm.
I read into that as to mean that they can do the 90% on the
n-
books.
no. This
You
is
borrow a
simply
hundred.
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, there you go. You got it. There. Yeah. Yeah. They basically creating their own loans for
Out of money
people.
that's not there, exactly, and then they make
Out of
money
nothing.
off.
Right. You saying it, Price?
So
Nah,
that's why I wish I could play the damn video because us reading it.
I could come off of Garfield's and we could play it on mine.
Okay, let's do that. Let's
Okay.
do that. Um. Oh, you know what? Yeah. Are they gonna be able to let you stream it without getting a strike?
How delete it? How
Cause they,
long will they let me stream it? Is the question.
yeah, cause
oh, we don't know.
they,
They sometimes I can stream it all the way through,
yeah.
and then I'll just delete it.
I think mine was 14 minutes in.
Oh, they got you.
Yeah.
So
Uh.
what does he advocate for, Chris? Just I mean, paraphrase, because I got his name and I see what he about. But I mean,
He advocating like, okay,
He's saying,
listen, we basically we he basically understand. Okay, we know y'all engineering recessions, and y'all making it seem that we have to do it this way. This is the way it should be done. And he's saying,
mm,
no, that's not the way it should be done. That's not what's really happening either. That's just a theory that was pushed. Now it may have happened at a certain time period, but that don't no longer happens. That theory is no longer how they do things. He's saying the credit creation theory is what um they
"Oh,
should do because you don't have to quote unquote go through a recession. You can just stop the shit right there with one button. End everything. You ain't gotta wait 6 to 18 months for a recession to happen and go through it and rebuild and all that shit.
I mean, when
He,
you say stop it, what do you mean stop it? How?
you don't have to go through it at all. Like you don't have to engineer shit. Like
What extend credit?
yes, so that's one part of it. The other part is you can use that credit creation to for the good, for the good of the economy
yeah,
Like
and
what?
for the people. Huh?
Like what?
By doing this for the people because they're not just creating loans, for everyday people. They doing this
Uh-huh.
for businesses and corporations. So they're benefiting off of this. And they benefit
Well,
off of it, especially when a recession happens. So they intermingling all three theories together and then saying, oh well, we gotta go through a recession. Like they playing a game. It's like a play. Like they acting this shit out in real time. And they don't have to. And on top of that, they not getting affected by it because they purposely do this. It's purposely set up like this. That's why I want to play the interview because he break this shit down in real time instead of spending an hour, 2 hours just reading this. I just rather you hear
right.
it out his own mouth how he break it down because it's 2.5 hours that he getting interviewed by Tucker Carlson
you put the
about
link
Okay.
in the chat,
what?
the interview link.
Yeah.
Oh, let
Nah,
me.
I'm right. Yeah, I had to listen through that piecemeal and piecemeal and piecemeal. But
Yeah,
I
because
mean, it's
I haven't studied this enough to be able to eloquently put it so you can understand it.
no. I mean, it sounds interesting, but I just don't see how something can be cut off without. You said nobody get hurt. It's gonna be some level of discomfort.
Well, see, what's making you believe that is the way you believe things about banking and economics, on how you've been trained to think. But that's not how they don't do that shit no more. That's not how they do it. So that's why you
And
thinking like that.
no,
But
So you
but that's a
how?
fair point. But
you
The,
said
hey,
you said they turn it off and turn it on when they want. So
they
if they
use this
want you to
shit.
get, if they want you to have access to capital, they make their lending practices available. If they don't,
okay.
they just stop.
Yeah,
No,
that's what I'm saying. They okay. Let's say you got three weapons you can use at any time, and you can intermingle all three of them when you want and to whoever you want. What I'm saying is they doing all three, but they only doing whichever one benefits them.
okay.
Is what I'm saying.
when we say they, who is they? First of all, let's
The
clarify that part.
the people who run this fucking world is who I'm talking about.
Okay, is that the Fed? We talking about
The
central
feds
banks?
don't the feds don't run the world.
He's talking about the banks.
The 1%,
The,
bro.
the feds don't run the world. You got all of these different families out here that people don't know about
Oh, see,
that
well, that's what I'm getting
have
at.
controlling interests.
So
Huh? I'm saying
yeah,
whoever is
so
in these positions to be able to
uh-huh.
control things, these are the people I'm talking about. They're not getting affected by none of this shit.
Okay, so you're saying all the central banks across the globe and the central bank of central banks, all of those are irrelevant.
Yes, they are relevant to a certain degree. What I because remember, banking has been around way before the Federal Reserve or central bank was created. You had banks way before then, and he gonna break
Hmm.
that down. He gonna break that down too. So look, I put the video in the chat.
Okay.
Um,
So so
if what
well,
happened?
go ahead, because I just had another question or comment
Uh
because
huh.
what it sounded like you was describing, it sounded like when the Fed raises rate or it increases the value of money, that's denying credit. That's what it sounded like to me.